NASCAR's charter talks have been the topic yet again in the motorsports world, and it seems like there is a lot more that needs to be fixed in order to find common ground so the split won't happen. However, the NASCAR team bosses have not shied away from this move becoming reality, and after the latest meeting with the sports executives, it seems like they are still far away from fixing the issue that prevents the team owners from making a profit from the current business model. What has been discussed lately, and has the stance of the NASCAR's team owners changed? For us to understand this issue in a deeper matter, we need to look into the business model that the NASCAR team owners are complaining about and how it's taking the profit away from their pockets. As of now, NASCAR operates in a certain way. 65% of the total revenue goes to the tracks, 25% goes to the team owners, and 10% goes to the France family. But what a large contingent of people don't realize is that the NASCAR family has many iconic tracks on the calendar, which then again makes their piece of the cake a lot bigger. If you take into consideration that the current number of the contract with the media rights stands at $8.2 billion, which was signed ahead of the 2015 season, you couldn't help but wonder whether this is long overdue for changes. And with NASCAR's owning the crown jewel Daytona International Speedway, the revenue from this track goes directly to the France family. Furthermore, the sponsorship issue is something that the team owners have had serious issues with, as the team said that with the current business model, 60 to 80% of the money that they need to invest in the team for it to work properly needs to be coming from sponsors. But this is putting a lot of financial burden on their investors' backs. Therefore, the team owners feel like they have become full-time fundraisers in the sport, and that does affect their goals when they look at how a small portion of the money from the revenue goes their way, and how big of an amount is bleeding out of their pockets in order to achieve this. On the other hand, the team owners have to desperately chase the money from the sponsorships to keep their seasons alive, something they saw the former Candyman Kyle Busch lose his seat in JGR and drive for Richard Childress Racing. This is an ongoing issue, and it seems like NASCAR is waiting on the contract renewal with the current media holder because as things stand right now, the owners of 16 chartered organizations have been sending letters all over again to NASCAR's board of directors, asking for meaningful dialogue regarding the model system. The letter that was sent a couple of months ago is still not being moved away from the team owners when it comes to their official stance, and it essentially represents the entire Cup Series field and acknowledges that conversations with NASCAR have been productive, noting a tentative acceptance of the economic split of a new media deal. Now, what seems to be the issue with these charters anyway? They are worth millions, that is for sure, and the teams want to make sure that they remain that way, thanks to the sport making them permanent, rather than up for renewal every couple of years. NASCAR's initial stance was that this was not going to be changed anytime soon, but once the team owner skipped the scheduled meeting on the 5th of April earlier this year, NASCAR understood that something needed to be done in order to satisfy the needs of its team owners. Elaborating on this matter in a deeper matter, the letter that was sent to NASCAR said, "We have seen the market for charters rise since initially issued, but there is currently no real market due to the uncertainty surrounding the pending renewal process. In order to continue to invest in our teams and the sport as a whole, we need to build long-term value in our charter ownership that is stable, predictable, and permanent." But times have changed drastically from that point on, especially because there have been many improvements in how the sport assessed these charters in the first place. When the team bosses consistently raised their voices about the renewals and how that undermined the sport's credibility when it came to the financial factor, the situation turned vastly in the favor of the team owners. But there's a plot twist that still enables NASCAR to hold the entire situation in their own hands before it's fully resolved, and that is the renewal of the media rights. As of now, the contract expires in 2025, and it's not clear whether the sport will have those deals done by that time. But the initial belief from the team owners is that everything will be settled at the end of this year. The current state of the owner model being repellent for the financial investors of the sport has also turned sour for the fans as well, who hate to see how NASCAR takes away the majority of the profit in their pockets while the team owners struggle to stay afloat, while some of them reporting that in the past couple of years they have not made a profit and are surviving on a daily basis. But at the quarterly team owner council meeting that was held last week, the president of NASCAR, Steve Phelps, gave greater clarity on NASCAR's current offer to the teams, including how the sport intends to divvy up the financial split between all of the 36 charters, which are the anatomy of how NASCAR operates. Teams do not own the sanctioning body itself or any part of it, which is a key difference from some of the leagues that NASCAR's team owners want to take the example from. Yes, there has been a step forward in this conversation, and it seems like part of the team owners are happy with where the entire thing is moving. But that is far away from the solution that the team owners are looking for in NASCAR. Quite the contrary, there will be lots of talks until the end of the year if the charters are made permanent, as another source reports that the current progress could be labeled as a slow-coming one and added that a financial agreement is not close. So how are these talks held anyway? Teams set up a negotiating committee to handle the talks, which are mostly led by the RKF Racing president Steve Newark, JGR's president Dave Alpern, 2311 Racing investor Curtis Polk, and Hendrick Motorsports vice chairman Jeff Gordon. But NASCAR did not pay that big of attention to this committee this past summer, as the sport started to organize individual meetings with separate owners one-on-one to discuss a new charter agreement, in what could be their desperate move to try and divide the mass and then conquer them all from their standing point. As of now, teams receive $8 to $10 million per car per year from the league if they are the best performing teams, and this drops down gradually for the lesser performing teams. The hope from teams is that the new charter agreement will see the sum that is currently given to the best performing teams transferred to the worst performing ones. And while that is a large step that they are hoping would see the daylight, it's nothing that should not be possible to achieve. Informal talks have continued during the finale at the Phoenix Raceway, where the sport has awarded championships for its 3 national series from Friday through Sunday, as this topic has been kind of overshadowed by all the crashes that happened in the Truck Series finale. But let's hypothetically say that the talks between the two sides fall apart. What are we looking into then? One of the biggest fails for NASCAR is that the team owners could decide to move towards a split option, something that has been heavily explored by the SRX series started by Tony Stewart. On the other hand, we have seen a lot of comments made towards this scenario being the absolute failure for both sides and how it has the potential to be the next Indy and kart split that effectively ruined a lot of bonds, had a massive financial impact on both series. It ended up with a reunion a couple of years later. And who could blame the teams for asking what they are currently asking from NASCAR? Even in the letter, they stated that their goal is loud and clear, no different than NASCAR's desire to pass along ownership of strong and robust property to the next generation of the France Kennedy family, and they are going to strive towards that goal one way or another. Furthermore, they went on to say, "We would like to directly engage in conversations to understand NASCAR's concerns. Items that have been mentioned are general concepts about transfer restrictions, protection from bad actors, and dealing with material adverse economic changes over time. We have reviewed these concerns with our outside counsel and others who are well versed in such issues from other leagues, and we are optimistic that by working together, we can work through these or any other specific concerns, just as we did successfully at the creation of the charter system." With this in mind, do you think that the split is very close to happening? Let us know in the comments below.